Hi, I'm Emma Chadwick from the Townsville Bulletin, and Carla reminded me of the many different types of writing that we do as a journalist. You can start off as a journalist, but there's a lot of sort of other types of writing that you can take with you through your career. So this is my career progression. I actually started in the first intake of JCU students in the Bachelor of Journalism degree, and I was a mature age student. I think I was really old at like 27, and I had done a course at TAFE and finished my year 12 at TAFE, and my English teacher said, you know, you should be writing. So I thought, you know, you can't write and actually make money. And then the journalism degree started the next year, so I took a leap of faith with that one. I then moved up to Darwin, where I'd grown up, and worked at the Darwin-Palmerston Suburban, which is a weekly newspaper, where you get to write everything, take photographs, and just run around like a crazy person for every day of the week, pretty much. I then worked at the NT News, and I was a court reporter, general news, and then I later did some entertainment writing. So there's quite a few different areas that you can write in, and you can expect to be a court reporter if you go in as a journalist, and you get thrown into general news straight away, whether you're doing work experience or coming in as a journalist. I then travelled a bit around Australia and went to the Subiaco Post, which is an independent newspaper in WA. And I had a council round and worked in general news. It's pretty much did a bit of everything there, but photographer was a luxury we did have there, so, and at the NT News. When I came back to Townsville, I couldn't get work at the Townsville Bulletin, so I joined the Air Advocate, and they write for Air and the Home Hill Observer as a senior journalist. And so that was in general news and court reporting, and we also took our own photos there. So that was even Saturday night, you had to go out and take the social photos, so it's not terribly as glamorous as you might think, but taking photos of drunk people. I've been at the Townsville Bulletin for about 9 years in the newsroom, and I've moved on, had children, and have moved on to feature writing, which also includes sort of writing for writing stories, laying out the stories, and even some editing of the stories of your work. So you get to do a bit of everything there. Okay, so being noticed in the crowd. If you're studying journalism, just be keen. You know, have a great attitude. Come into the Bulletin and talk to the editor there and talk to other journalists. Jenna Johnston, you guys are in journalism. She's working with us at the moment. In features, so get published. When I was at uni, I didn't really know where to start, but I wrote book reviews for the uni newspaper, magazine, and I wrote stories about the frog researcher, and it was published in the Townsville Bulletin. So you've got a wealth of information at the university. You've got researchers here, scientists who are doing really interesting work, coral bleaching, you know, any of that sort of thing we like, and have it published. Just send it into the Bulletin and just ask if you can have it published, and they will set up a photographer to come out to go with your photos. So have a good nose for news, so understand your basics, like your who, where, what, when and how and why. Make sure you can spell. This sounds like really basic, but we do have a lot of people who are coming through who can't spell, and there's a lot to learn, and you're also learning about style when you first come out and go into, say, a newspaper or anywhere where you're being published. You need to also understand that there's a style, so ask for the style guide for wherever you're working. And just go back over your work and check it. And so that is something that comes up quite a bit. The Townsville Bulletin has a third-year internship program, and we do have work experience for first and second year students. So come in and ask about that, or ring up and ask. So why do we do it? Why do we write as journalists? It's exciting. Journalists are at the front lines. Okay, we get to hold those in power to account. We ask questions that others won't. We see things and go places others can't, and we share those stories. We meet people at their lowest, the lowest of the lows, like death knocks are something that you will have to do as a journalist. Someone has died in the family, and for whatever reason there is a story sort of surrounding that person, so you will have to go and knock on a door. When I was court reporter in Ayr, they would recess, and everyone that was in court with you had to go out with you on the veranda, and you had to go and sit with them, which was sometimes a little bit daunting, but yeah, you had to be pretty tough. And these people are at their lowest ebb, and you also meet people at their highest high, the heroes, the winners, the achievers. They're great stories. Journalists have to be pretty thick-skinned. When you become a journalist and you go to a barbecue, you'll have people, having a go at you about being a journalist. So it might, you just have to be pretty tough and that sort of thing. Have an inquiring mind and be prepared to get out of your comfort zone. It is tough to talk to people sometimes, but you really need to just be yourself, but just be prepared to go out there and talk to others. But there's no doubt about it, it is the best job in the world. So if you've picked journalism, you've picked a great profession.